Dr. Kiki Sanford, and today on Food Science, we're going to show you how to make a peach Melba galette from Craig Flynn's Fresh and Frugal recipe book. Before we begin, there are a couple safety protocols that should be followed. Firstly, you want to be wearing your lab coats, hairnets, and closed-toed footwear with non-slip soles. Make sure that all your jewelry is removed, as well as nail polish. Nails should be short and trimmed. Now a lesson on how to properly wash your hands, which is essential anytime you're handling food. Turn on the tap and allow the water to get warm. Wet your hands and dispense soap until a lather is formed. Continue rubbing for approximately 20 seconds, ensuring to cover the backs of your hands, palms, wrists, and between your fingers. Rinse and dry your hands before turning off the taps. Yum! Make sure that all of your fruit is thoroughly washed with cold water. You want to wash your fruit before you cut them so that you're not cutting the pesticides into the fruit. Peaches are a part of the dirty dozen, meaning it is one of the top 12 fruits with the highest pesticide residues, so make sure that they are washed well. Now we can start the baking. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Take your puff pastry and lay it on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Using a large chef's knife, cut half-inch strips off all 4 sides. Dip your fingers into water to moisten the edges of the remaining sheet of puff pastry. Place the cut pieces onto the edges of the remaining sheet. This gives an edge to the tart that contains the fruit juices as it's cooking. Poke tiny holes with a fork into the puff pastry except for the raised edges. This is called docking. It is to allow air to escape and prevent bubbles in the puff pastry. Spread half of the apricot preserves evenly over the sheet of puff pastry except for the raised edges. This would prevent the edges from rising and defeat its purpose. Remove the cores of the peaches by a process called pitting. Cut the peaches in half, remove and discard the pits, and then slice them into quarter-inch slices. Fan them over the glazed pastry dough as neatly and evenly as possible. Sprinkle the washed raspberries on top, followed by the sugar. Looks delicious! Cut and place small pieces of butter evenly on top of the raspberries and bake the galette for 20 minutes. Make sure it's at the correct temperature. Lower the oven temperature to 350 degrees and continue baking until the crust is golden brown from the Maillard reaction and the fruit is soft. Yum! When the galette is out of the oven, add water to the remaining half of the apricot preserves to thin it out. Brush this glaze over the top of the galette. Cool on the countertop before serving, but do not refrigerate because the pastry will become soggy. You're probably wondering what the purposes of all these ingredients were. Well, for starters, the puff pastry acted as a structural base for the dessert and provided the crust that contained everything. The sugar was added on top of the fruit to form the glaze and sweeten the dessert. The butter and fruit were key flavoring components. I love baking! See? Science is fun!
Okay, show the English side.
Oh.
There you go.
See? Science is fun!